Dann mache ich eine kurze Einführung.
Mhm.
Ja, dann guten Abend oder guten Nachmittag an alle. Wir freuen uns, dass wir heute in unserer kleinen Serie von Vorträgen zur Religion und Religionsgeschichte in Südchina zwei Beitragende aus China haben. Zunächst Professor Zhao Dianhong und später dann Professor Wu Qing. Und ich stelle beide kurz vor. Hm, Herrn Zhao kenne ich schon seit über 20 Jahren. Wir sind uns früher erstmals in Guangzhou begegnet und er war so freundlich und hat Dinge von mir übersetzt. Er ist ein Spezialist inzwischen für verschiedene Fragen der Religionsgeschichte, hat sich mit Macau befasst und hat ein sehr schönes Buch veröffentlicht, 教会社会明末清初江南地区 und so weiter, Religionsnetzwerke dort und hat auch in vielen chinesischen Zeitschriften, zum Beispiel in Zongjiao研究und in Shilin, in Xueshu研究und Shijie Zongjiao研究und auch in der chinesischen Version der Revista de Cultura Wenhua Zazhi in Macau viele Beiträge veröffentlicht. Er ist tätig an der Oktober oder an der Macau University of Science and Technology. Dort ist er eine Art Researcher und beschäftigt sich mit allen möglichen Fragen. Sein Thema heute auf Deutsch: Wandel des Status von Macau vor und nach dem sogenannten Ritenstreit. Das bezieht sich auf die Jesuiten und auf andere katholische Gruppen, Dominikaner, Franziskaner und so weiter. Und natürlich sicher auch am Rande auf die Frage des Patronats oder des portugiesischen Padroado. Ja, Herr Professor Zhao wird seinen Vortrag auf Englisch halten. Ich hoffe, das ist in Ordnung so und hinterher können Sie natürlich gerne Fragen stellen. 好，谢谢你。那你现在请开始。
Thank you very much, Professor Patak. I'm Zhao Dianhong from Macau University of Science and Technology. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak some of opinions on the Chinese rights controversy and changing status before and after the controversy. Firstly, I'll share my PPT. Okay. The title of my speech is The Changing Status of Macau Before and After the Chinese Rights Controversy. The Chinese rights controversy during the 17th and 18th centuries was a very significant event in the history of cultural exchange between China and the West. It originated within the church itself, but quickly expanded to involve Europe and China, with Rome, Beijing, Macau, Paris, and other cities becoming the centers and the stages of the dispute. Apart from the missionaries of the Jesuits, Franciscan, and Dominican orders who were active in China, various other actors were deeply involved, including the Pope, the Qing Emperor, the King of France, and the representatives of the Holy See. During this process, the Qing court gradually strengthened its control over Macau, leading to changing relations between Beijing and Macau. At the beginning of the Qing dynasty, the central government implemented an inclusive policy towards Christianity. Adam's girl Van Bell, that is Tang Wang, was honored by the Emperor Shunzi as Mafa. Mafa means grandfather because of his profound knowledge in the fields of astronomy and calendars. He adapted Chongzhen calendar into Western New Calendar, that is 西洋新法历书, which was accepted by the Qing court and later was renamed 时宪历. Bell was appointed as the director of the Imperial Observatory 钦天监, making him the first foreigner to serve as the head of the observatory in China's history. Several years later, the Qing court granted him the title, the very honored title of Tongxuan Jiaoshi, and later he was awarded the title of Guanglu Dafu. Therefore, from Shunzi to the early Kangxi periods, the development of Christianity in mainland China was relatively smooth. But Macau suffered from the policy. of the maritime blockade, leading to widespread poverty and making it difficult for the church to sustain itself. Sorry. The implementation of Western calendar in the early Qing dynasty also encountered opposition from conservative factions and peoples, resulting in a nationwide incident in the third year of Kangxi. Yang Guangxian is a native of Anhui province, submitted memorials against Bell's new calendar, that is a Western calendar, arguing that it was inappropriate to write 西洋新法 according to the new Western method. He think it is inappropriate, believing it is an attempt to grant the Westerners the power to interfere with China's sovereignty. He further published articles including 辟邪论 and 请诸邪教状, comprehensively refuting Catholic theology and involving Macau. He claimed that Macau gathered tens of thousands of Western people because becoming their settlement and serving as a hub for ferrying people coming and going by sea. After examination by the Ministry of Rites, that is the Li Bu, all missionaries from all over China mainland were transferred to Beijing for trial. There, they were sent to a church in Guangzhou, where they were detained more than 6 years, from 1665 to 1671. Since Kangxi Emperor personally governed after the eighth year of Kangxi in 1669, a new chapter in the relationship between the Qing court and the missionaries was opened. In March of the 8th year of Kangxi, Ferdinand Verbiest, Nanhuai he is a Belgian Jesuit, served as a supervisor of the Imperial Observatory, indicating that the Western calendars was once again accepted by the court. 2 years later, the missionaries who were expelled to Canton during the Guangxian affair were allowed to return to their churches at the command of the Emperor Kangxi. To win over the Westerners, the Emperor himself personally inspected the churches in Beijing and wrote plague Jingtian for them, which was then replicated and hung in various churches across the country. The Guangxian case has a very nationwide impact, producing profound effects in politics, culture, religion, and science. Emperor Kangxi was deeply shaken by this affair. He keenly felt the lack of talent in Chinese scientific knowledge. This strengthened his resolve to learn Western scientific knowledge in order to free China from dependence on Westerners and enable the Chinese to master scientific calculations. Soon, Verbiest's scientific expertise won him the favor of Emperor. Not only was he appointed as the director of the Imperial Observatory, but he also became the Emperor's teacher, ready at any time to instruct him in Western scientific knowledge. After that, many other missionaries successfully traveled from Macau to Beijing to participate in the work of the Imperial Observatory. During the same period, the French king's mathematicians entered Beijing from Ningbo, Zhejiang province. They provide services in science, technology, arts, and medicine at the imperial court. In addition to managing astronomical affairs, the missionaries at the Imperial Observatory also participated in foreign affairs as translators between Qing dynasty and Russia. In the 23rd year of Kangxi, that is 1684, the Qing court approved the opening of the sea ban and established the Guangdong Customs General Office in Macau. In the 31st years of Kangxi, the emperor issued the tolerance edict. It is a very famous edict, 容教令, Kangxi 容教令, in 1692, allowing the faith, the Christianity to be spread in China. In order to better utilize Macau as a channel for introducing Western scientific and technological talents, the court strengthened its management of Macau, making adjustment according to practical situations. The emperor repeatedly instructed the governors of Guangdong to pay attention to Macau affairs, order them to investigate Western news, and asked missionary situation through officials of the Ministry of Inner Affairs, 内务府, that is, the emperor asked the officials of 内务府 to investigate the foreign affairs and the situation of missionaries. After arriving in Macau, the missionaries were examined by the governors of Guangdong, and those with skills were sent to Beijing. The governors and other officials of Guangdong frequently visited Macau, and the county magistrate of Xiangshan Zhixian was authorized to directly manage Macau affairs. And next, yeah. In the later half of the 17th century, there was a controversy within the church regarding the attitude towards traditional Chinese rituals, which further caused the widespread Chinese Rites Controversy. By the early 18th century, the Chinese Rites Controversy went beyond the scope of theological and missionary debates and intensified into a power struggle between nations and factions in Europe. It also focused on cultural conflicts between East and West in China, ultimately leading to a diplomatic crisis between the Qing court and Rome. Beijing and Macau became two major centers of the Chinese Rites Controversy. In 1701, the Pope sent Tournon, Dolo, to visit China to meet Kangxi Emperor. After passing through India and the Philippines, Tournon arrived in Macau in April 1705 and entered Beijing in December of the same year. However, Tournon's failed communication with Kangxi Emperor led to a worse situation of the controversy, causing the emperor to lose trust in the religion and the Western missionaries. That is the book of Red Manifesto, 红票、领票传教, the red tickets. In November of Kangxi 45th year, that is 1706, the emperor decreed that all foreign missionaries in China must obtain permission tickets, that is Red Manifesto, 红票. This is a very famous system. The missionaries have to comply with the multi-rich regulations to be allowed to reside in the country. In early 1707, Tournon issued the Nanjing Order, prohibiting all missionaries in China from forming Chinese rites. This further enraged the emperor, who then ordered to detain Tournon in Macau. And he told to the governor of Guangdong, if there are newly arrived Westerners who lack true talent and are only there to spread religion, they should be temporarily kept in Guangdong and not allowed to travel to other provinces. There will be separate instructions when it is permitted for them to leave. If among the Westerners there are those with exceptional skills or who are doctors of internal and external medicine, they should be promptly sent to Beijing. That is the language of the Kangxi Emperor. After the failure of the communication with Tournon delegation, Kangxi still actively contacted Rome to attempt to resolve the ritual dispute. He dispatched several more missionaries as commissioners to Rome. At the same time, he sent inner court officials, 内务府的官员, to Guangdong and Macau to work together with the governors of Guangdong and the supervisor of the Canton Customs to try to understand and communicate the progress and to investigate the situation of the Westerners in Macau. At this point, Macau's role as an intelligence station for European information was further enhanced. Although the Roman court sent another delegation led by Maza Baba in Beijing in 1720, but the two parties still could not reach an agreement. On January 1721, Kangxi Emperor read the papal bull brought by Maza Baba and wrote and said, after examining this treaty, I can only see the Westerners cannot talk about the principles of China. Moreover, none of the Westerners knows Chinese characters, so what they say is often laughable. From now on, there will be no need for Westerners to practice their religion in China, and their activities will be prohibited, thus avoiding unnecessary troubles. This edict marked the end of legal missionary activity in China. Subsequently, during the reigns of the successors of Kangxi Emperor, that is, they are Yongzheng, Qianlong, and Jiaqing, until the signing of the Nanjing Treaty in 1842. The Qing court adopted a policy of prohibition against spreading Christianity in China. This is the travel itinerary, the travel lineage of Tournon from Macau to Beijing. This map was drawn by Dutch Van Pons. The bottom of the picture is the left in the bottom of this picture is Macau, and from Macau to Guangzhou and try across by the canal, the Grand River, to Beijing. It is a very, very, very old map. The controversy over Chinese rituals and its resulting changes to the Catholic policies of the Qing dynasty had profound impacts on Macau. On the one hand, Macau became the center and the stage of the Chinese Rites Controversy. On the other hand, it also served as a buffer area and a space for the Qing court to deal with foreign affairs. In Macau, Jesuits, Franciscans, Dominican orders, and other Catholic missionaries gathered in Macau, they have very different opinions on Chinese rituals and were full of contradictions and conflicts. Institutions representing the interests of Portuguese in Macau, such as the governor and the council, Senado, had to comply with Ming and Qing central and local government in order to survive in Macau, which made them very resistant to missionaries such as who opposed Chinese rituals. After being confined in Macau, Tournon faced opposition from figures such as the governor and the bishop in Macau. So Tournon's activities in Macau were severely restricted by the officials and other missionaries, and he died in Macau in June 1710. So we can see in the late Kangxi period, relations between Macau and Beijing were at their best, forming a hot line between Macau, Guangzhou, and between Beijing, Guangzhou, and Macau that facilitated rapid communication of information, people, and goods. Kangxi's policy of using Westerners' skills was carried out in the reigns of Yongzheng, Qianlong, and Jiaqing. Once Westerners arrived in Macau, they were examined by officials from Guangdong, and those with Western technologies were sent to the capital as foreign craftsmen. During the Qing dynasty's period of religious prohibition, Macau served as a refuge for missionaries and believers. For example, in the 11th year of Yongzheng, over 100 missionaries from all over China were expelled to Macau. In the 11th year of Qianlong, 17th, the year of 17th and 46, with the outbreak of the Fu'an missionary case, the Qing implemented even strict measures against the religion throughout the country, and for the first time includes Macau in the list of places where the Chinese people was forbidden from entering or practicing their religion. In 1747, yes, 1747. The Xiangshan magistrate, Zhang Rulin, the magistrate of Xiangshan, he personally went to Macau and sealed the church of Santa Amaro, that is Tang Ren Miao, especially for Chinese people to worship in the church, which was used by both Macau and mainland Chinese Christians for worship. So this church was closed by Zhang Rulin. On the other hand, the Rites Controversy expanded the influence of Chinese culture on Europe, prompting European intellectuals and the public to become more interested in discussing China and Chinese culture. Missionaries further stimulated their enthusiasm for spreading the faith in Far East Asia. Despite the Qing dynasty's ban on Catholicism, no religious order stopped sending their missionaries to China. They usually stayed in Macau. They waiting for opportunities to enter the mainland. Therefore, we can see during the period of religious prohibition, the existence of Christianity in Macau allowed for the continuation, survival of its propaganda in the interior. Further, this strengthened Macau's status as an Eastern missionary base. That's all for my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well, thank you as well. That was a very nice presentation. I'm not so sure whether there are any questions. Herr Kang, gibt es Fragen? If not, at the moment, maybe then I would like to ask you one or two questions, if you allow that. You started off with Yang Guangxian
Yes.
and the problems related to him. Yang Guangxian was active in the 1660s, 64 especially. In 1662, the forces of Zheng Zhenggong, they took the Dutch dependencies on Taiwan. The Dutch were kicked out of Taiwan. Is there any relation in your knowledge between the activities of Yang Guangxian and the very fact that the Protestant or Calvinist side was kicked out of Taiwan? Can we say that there is some kind of relation?
It is very interesting. Yang Guangxian, his activity, is there any relations between Yang Guangxian's activity to the Taiwan situation at that time? I don't know exactly, but I think Yang Guangxian is a very conservative group in that time. Maybe he can use the political situation of Taiwan to attack Bao Taiwan. Maybe it is I think it's a very big very big issue. We can maybe we can talk about, we can think about, but我还没有从这个角度去思考问题。I'm not.
这个是比较复杂的问题，但是我觉得很可能杨光先他觉得当时的那些成功是比较成功的。我们也可以说这个是第一次，中国的那个军队是得到了一个很大的胜利。This was the first case where a major Chinese force was beating a European force, right? So probably he felt encouraged, even though Zheng Zhenggong had nothing to do with the Qing government. Zheng Zhenggong was actually opposed to the Qing government. But still, we cannot completely exclude these kind of thoughts and these kind of ideas. I'm not sure, but that is just a question.
这个有意思。我们在杨光先的这个著作里面，应该是没有看到他对这个郑成功或者是台湾的这个描写。
这个我不知道，为了这个我就问你。
Thank you, Professor Tak.
Yes. There's a second point that went through my mind when you were talking about Tournon, the French missionary. We can say that within the church structure, the Catholic church structure, there was a struggle going on back inside Europe. You had on the one side the French nationalists, on the other side the Jesuits were an international team. For the Jesuits, I think the nation or the idea of nation was not important. It ranked secondary. But for many of the other groups, they acted a little bit like the Protestant and Calvinists. They put themselves into the service of their emperors, kings, or whatsoever. And I think this is a very difficult point, even for European historians of the Catholic Church, because it touches a number of very touchy issues, very complicated things. And if reflected on the situation in China. So this is something extremely complicated. But anyway, you mentioned this at random, so quite interesting.
Yeah. After the Yang Guangxian case, more than 20 missionaries from different countries, different orders, they gathered in Guangzhou Church for more than 6 years, and so they have to live together. They have to live together. They were obliged to live together. These 6 years very interesting for them to work together or argue quarrel because of 可能很多矛盾在那个几年当中都会就是可以很明显的能够看得出来。
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Should we proceed to the second lecture? Would that be okay? Then I quickly introduce our second speaker, Professor Dr. Wu Qing. She is with the Jiangnan Daxue, which is a famous university in Guangzhou. But let me continue in German. Sie ist dort Professorin und ist stellvertretende Leiterin der Literaturabteilung oder der dortigen Fakultät. Und sie hat ein sehr schönes Buch geschrieben über einen Bischof in Hongkong namens He Minghua und entsprechend viele Aufsätze, Artikel und so weiter. Sie hat ihren Doktorgrad erworben an der Zhongnan Daihao in Hongkong, und zwar mehr im Fach Philosophie, während Herr Zhao Historiker ist und dort seinen Doktorgrad erworben hat. Und Frau Professor Wu war auch mehrfach schon in Europa und in Nordamerika. Sie war unter anderem an guten amerikanischen Universitäten und war, ich glaube, letztes oder vorletztes Jahr auch in Heidelberg eine Zeit lang tätig. Und wir haben uns längere Zeit im letzten Jahr unterhalten über alle möglichen Dinge. Und deswegen dachte ich, es wäre sehr schön, sie würde heute hier ihren Vortrag halten. Und das tut sie. Es geht um ein Thema, das zeitlich sehr viel später angesiedelt ist, mit dem Titel Evangelisation, Diplomatie und westliches Wissen. Die Bibelübergaben an den späten Qing-Hof, Bibelübersetzungen und so weiter, hat alles damit zu tun. Ein wichtiges Thema. Wir sind Ende des 19. Jahrhunderts. Okay, so please start with your lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Putak. I think it's a great honor to join the online lecture at the Konfuzius-Institut in Mushin today. And I'm grateful to Professor Putak's invitation and introduction, and all my colleagues at the Institute. My field is history of Sino-Western culture exchange. So, and today I'm going to share my research and share a very interesting history story about the Bible and the Qing dynasty and the Qing court. This story, which I found in the archives of the American Bible Society, so may give us some insights into the cultural exchange between the East and the West in modern times. Okay, now we will start our PowerPoint. Okay. So these three photos are the key elements of my lecture. The one on the left is the Empress Dowager Cixi. The one on the right is the Emperor Guangxu Huangdi. So in the middle is a Qing version of the Bible in Chinese that Western missionaries gave to Cixi for her 60th birthday. So this Bible, as a birthday gift, was rewarded by Cixi and also opened the Emperor Guangxu's eyes. So as we know, China in the middle of the 19th century faced the increasing pressure from Western power that wanted to open the country for trade. The first generation of reform-minded Qing officials and educated elites who had sober understanding the world realized that China needed to learn more from West in order to survive in modern world. So some governors of coastal provinces received court approval for self-strengthening movement, 洋务运动, with the goal to modernize Chinese military system and build light industries. So to spread the Christianity more effectively in China, Western missionaries like the Timothy Richmond, John Helen, and Ernst Faber adopted a more liberal status for reaching out to the upper class in China, wishing to tap on the knowledge, resources, and influence of Chinese elite for effective evangelism. So those missionaries worked with Chinese officials and even the royal family in the promoting the social reforms through the running modern schools, the newspapers, the translations, and the publication. So Empress Dowager Cixi and Empress Guangxu, we know, were the very key figures in the late Qing political landscape and also focus of the Western missionaries. So on November 7, 1894, it was the 60th birthday of Cixi. Seizing this opportunity, missionaries in China mobilized Chinese female Christian to present a beautifully bound copy of the New Testament, 新约圣经, to Cixi in their names. So as we know, the Guangxu, the young Emperor Guangxu, not only read the Bible, but also immediately sent eunuchs out of the palace to buy more versions of the Bible. So his action of purchasing Bibles was a great encouragement to the missionaries in China. Some even thought the Guangxu was trying to turn his reign into an area of reform. So I have used a lot of archives for this research, including the annual report of the American Bible Society from the Yale Divinity School Library, and the Chinese mission from the American Bible Society archives, So this is a National Social Science Fund project that I have completed. It was published in the Journal of Modern Chinese History Studies and received a very positive social response. So today, I would like to share the outline of my paper, which mainly discussed the three parts. The first is American Bible Society and the book missionary work. The second is the part is how did Bible enter the forbidden city, Zijingcheng. 3. The Bible sparkled the Emperor Guangxu's purchase of the Bible. Now let's start from the three major Western Bible Society. So as we know, there are three major Western Bible societies in the world. They are British and Foreign Bible Society, American Bible Society, National Bible Society of Scotland. So this society raises funds in the United Kingdom and the United States, appoints agents to oversee international Bible-related activities, print and publish Bible worldwide, and promote the Bible and spread the Christianity throughout the world. Here, I want to use some pictures to show the path of the history of the Bible coming from West to China, entering the Chinese court and further influencing the Chinese authority. So these pictures are from the American Bible Society's annual report and archives. The one on the left shows they're handing out Bible to students outside the imperial examination halls, 在科举考场外面哈 ，during the late Qing Dynasty.
吴老师，不好意思打断一下，我们这边好像只能看到您的第一张 PPT。
Okay. Okay. I will try again. 我再试一下哈。
没有开始播放。
哦，我来试一下。现在可以吗？
哦，可以了，可以了。
可以了哈。
嗯
Sorry. Okay. Okay. So I want to show yes. Continue. So I think just now I introduced the left one. So now is the right picture. So on the right you see a Chinese Christian groom holding a Bible at a wedding in China. They have got this portable chapel and set up, and the wedding program is posted on the hall. It's really cool blend of Chinese and Western wedding traditions. So these two photos are both about Bible sellers or Bible colporteurs. The photo on the left shows the start of their Bible selling trip with a wagon loaded with Bibles, leaving the bookstore. The one on the right is of Bible sellers carrying poles on Bibles, going around the neighborhood and selling Bibles in towns and villages. Before this research, I had no idea such a woman existed. So, this one is really surprising and quite interesting. It's a photo of Chinese government officials who were involved in the distribution of Bible in 1897. It's hard to believe or imagine that the government officials that at that time were also part of this. And the Bible house in Beijing was destroyed during the Boxer Rebellion. This is what it looked like after the destruction. So, but they rebuilt it later. This is the new headquarters for North China after the Boxer Rebellion. And while I was go through the archives, I often came across the special group of people. That's a Bible woman. They were hired by female missionaries, and the first appeared in London in the middle 19th century. So the earliest Chinese Bible woman can be tracked back to the 1960s. And when there were local female assistants hired by the missions in China. Their main job was to teach Bible and spread Christianity to women under the supervision of the foreign female missionaries. So before the 20th century, most women, Bible women, came from the lower classes and were often middle-aged widows, and usually had no education. So this is a group photo of the listener of Bible woman at the residence of a missionary. Is a Zhang Dianhong in Chongqing. And due to time, I won't go into detail about each picture. This is a colorful one. But these Bible women are also related to the topic we are discussing today. So this is from Fuzhou in the early 20th century. And just like this one, the Bible woman, Cao, holding a hymn book. The photo was taken at the Xindianzi. Xindianzi is a mission state of China. In Island, the mission. So Cao lived in a rural area about 6 kilometers from the mission stations. So in 1892, she burned the idols in her home, and in 1695, she was hired as a Bible woman at the Xindianzi mission state. So next, I will show you some archives and photos I used for my research. This is the annual report of American Society. And this is China Mission from the ABS archives. Due to the time, I will very quickly to go through. The missionaries corresponding, there are manuscripts in the archives. And I also collected some ABS historic essays. And these are different Bible versions in the early publication of China. And these are Old and the New Testament, 新约和旧约圣经 published by American Bible Society. This is a very famous old photo that shows the scheme of Bible translation. And in 1902, the Bishop Sherishevsky, he is a Jew, and his Bible translation, the assistant worked in their study at the residence in Tokyo, in Japan, but they translate the Bible in Chinese. So this figure, I think is Higer's, Americans, the third manager in China. He is very important because he is a desire of the whole the presentation of Bible into the Forbidden City. So his contribution is establishing ABS as the foremost among 3 major Western Bible societies. So he is a very important figure. And he wrote 2 books, include the one, Translation of the Scriptures into the Language of China and Her Independencies. And as the result of his estimated status and the connection, he enjoyed the strong support and favor of the ABS Board of Directions. So he has lots of the governor resources. So as we mentioned, Cixi and Emperor Guangxu were the pivotal figures in the late Qing and the focal point of Western missionaries' attention. So on November 7, 1894, marked the 16th birthday of Cixi, Western missionaries mobilized Chinese Christian women to present a beautiful bound copy of the New Testament in her honor. So Cixi graciously accepted this gift and making the first entry of the Chinese language, the New Testament, in the Qing dynasties imperial court. So it's the first Chinese language Bible into the Forbidden City. So on the occasion of the 60th birthday of the Cixi, the women missionaries of Ningbo proposed that local and foreign women Christians in China present to Cixi a volume of the Holy Bible. So it's a very special version. So this is a cover of the New Testament published. So from the Chinese recorder in 1895. So the Chinese recorder have this the cover of the New Testament. The left one is I took the picture from the Harvard Yenjing Library, the colorful one. And so they use a silver box containing the New Testament. So this picture is also from the Chinese recorder. And the inscription on the box reads, respectfully present to Empress Dowager Cixi, Christian Church believers offering. And the committee decided to provide only the New Testament rather than the entire Bible. Choose the committee version. Committee version is the most suitable edition for the presentation because it is simplest and the most eloquent among all the classic Chinese New Testament version. So, and the story continue. On the November 11, 1984, a silver box containing the New Testament was handed over to British and American embassies in China. So they delivered it to the office of Primary Minister, 总理衙门. So the following day, Minister presented the gift to Cixi. Coincidentally, the birthday gift from the Queen Victoria, from 维多利亚女皇 also delivered to Cixi on the same day. So I looked through the archives. I think there is no evidence to confirm whether Cixi personally read the Bible. After accepting this valuable gift, Cixi rewarded the female missionaries in China. So the rewards given include items such as silk and sewing materials. So such rewards can be viewed as a part of the official liturgy within the Qing dynasty for the interactions with the foreign countries. So this is a document I found from the archives of ABS, issued by the Office of the Primary Minister regarding the rewards best owned by the Empress Dowager Cixi. And now let's to the third part of my lecture is the Emperor Guangxu purchased the Bible. And surprisingly, there is a lack of corresponding the Chinese record on this topic. So my research aims to interpret the English document and from the perspective of Western missionaries, provide the detailed account of the historic process of the Guangxu's curiosization of the Bible. So it attempts to reconstruction the history of how Christians establish a relationship with Qing court through the media, just like the Bible, and shedding the light on a less lower the chapter in the history of modern Sino-Western cultural exchange. So this is details details. So at the 10 o'clock in the morning, Guangxu sent the eunuchs out of the palace to purchase one copy of New Testament, Old Testament, 旧约, and one copy of New Testament, 一本新约. So he indicates that the Emperor Guangxu immediately started reading the acquired the Bible text. So upon its arriving, and even found some printing imperfections by 12:30 in the afternoon. He once again sent eunuchs to exchange the copies with better printing quality. So I think Guangxu read the Bible and very seriously. And the young Emperor Guangxu not only read the Bible, but also asked the eunuchs to buy the Old Testament, New Testament. So his action greatly inspired the missionaries in China, with some even believe that Guangxu was attempting to transfer his reign into an era of reform. So this is hope. Okay, so let's do. So in 1974, the Chinese translation of Bible entered into the Qing Dynasty Empire Court, offering the Empire Guangxu a gateway to understanding the new Confucianism of the West. So it also presented to him another fact of Western civilizations. So Emperor Guangxu, he developed a profound interest in Western literature with the Bible as its representative. He began reading Western texts avidly, going from sending eunuchs to the purchase Old and New Testament in 1894 to acquire a substantial collection of the Western literature before the 100 Days Reform. 戊戌变法哈。百日维新哈. So Emperor Guangxu was the first person to sit on the dragon throne and face towards the future. So one missionary said. So Guangxu really studied English under the look. He purchased over 300 Western books and read them every day. So he really liked studying English. So some scholars do the research about the Guangxu learning English. And now let's do the conclusion. And I think the Emperor Guangxu's reading of the Bible primarily remained at the level of requiring knowledge. It seems that the Bible didn't have a significant impact on his personal beliefs. Instead, he was more interested in understanding Christianity and through it, gaining the insights into Western world. So his interest in Christianity also spurred the curiosity of the intellectuals in Beijing and many other places who began to pay more attention and study Christianity. So this had a significant influence in promoting the spread of Christianity among China's educated elite. And it can be said that in this presentation of the Bible event was a successful endeavor by Western missionaries to promote the dissemination of the Bible in China. So this is my conclusion. And this is my presentation. So thank you.
Well, then let me say that these were two very, very nice lectures, very special themes. There are some kind of parallelisms, and we could see that religious history has a certain impact on society, on social events, on perhaps even political history. There is a very clear difference between the way the Catholics in the early periods approached the Chinese elites on the one side, and the way the Reformed Church, the Protestants, Calvinists, etc., approached China much later. So these are two different, how should I say, patterns, two different modes of dealing with a different host society. And I think we have learned a lot. And so my thanks to both of you for attending this little event, and especially because it is now very, very late at night in China because of the time lag. You must both be quite tired.
Not too late. Not too late.
Not too late.
And are ready to go to sleep while we are still in the middle of the afternoon. Anyway, thank you very much also on behalf of the Konfuzius-Institut, and for the ones who are going to look into the YouTube thing. I think it's a very nice idea to have this readily posted into the internet quite soon. Well, thank you. Then I say goodbye and hope to meet you soon sometime in the near future.
And
Bye.
many thanks
Thank you.
also from our side to Chinese professors. And in November, we have the next presentation or lecture. So under this topic, Chinese religion and cultural statement in Buddha meeting East to West.
Yes. Well,
Thank you very much. 非常感谢两位教授，也祝您两位周末愉快。
好，
谢谢。
谢谢普大哥教授，谢谢
好的，
康老师，
再见。
Ciao.
好 ，Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you for your
Yeah, bye-bye now.